Today, again, we are talking about something interesting. I think we are more focused on project manager and interview related questions for the project manager rather than
Yes.
just Scrum Master, because usually we do Scrum Master related queries also. So we
Okay.
have a volunteer and she's willing to talk about some of her project management questions, and probably we will explore how we can assist. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. My first question would be, what is a CapEx budget?
So, in general, for project managers, these kind of things are not that common, yeah, usually, but it is like the capital investment. So, say you are making expenses in your home and you spend, say, 2000 in a given month. Then you will say this 2000 is gone. We need to manage our expenses, for example, like that. Yeah. But next month you spend 5000, but out of 5000 you might buy a bike for 3000. Yeah. Now you won't say that I spent 5000 this month. You will say yes, I spent 5000, but this bike I have purchased, this I am going to use it over a period of time. This is not a general expense. This is a capital expenditure. This expenditure I better utilize over a period of time. So, say if you are making a building, you can say, no, this we are building an asset. We are making an investment, and this investment will give us return in future. So, in a accounting treatment, I won't consider that money as an expense. I will consider that money investment in the capital or an asset, and over a period of time I will depreciate it. So again, you don't get this much calculation and understanding for a PMP or for a project manager interviews, but that's how it is. So you will say, okay, I have purchased a bike for 3000, but I think I will be booking 500 per month because I'm going to use this bike for 6 months. So I will better save that this 3000 will get utilized in the next 6 months time. So this is how you can say capital expenditures are taken care. Yeah.
And similarly, what would be operational expenditure and capacity expenditures?
Yeah, operational expenses like the other one. Yeah, you can say that, okay, we are spending money, we are renting something which you want to book that month only. Yeah. In the accounting treatment, you want to say this month is this expense is a monthly expense, my general expense, and this month is my futuristic expense.
Okay. And my second question would be, how do you put a project together? Like somebody just comes and tells us, okay, pick up a project. How do we go about the workflow, complete workflow?
So this is like the basic thing which we learn in our PMP and project management content. So we need to understand from where the project gets started. What is the initiation of the project? Now, someone comes and say that you need to do a revamping of your house. You won't just start the project and says I want to do a repainting of my house. So it's not randomly started, but you probably will say, okay, what are the business case around it? What is the benefit I can get by repainting my house? Is it something aligned to my strategic objective? Are we going to do a function in our house? So you evaluate various aspects, then you initiate a project. So what is project? The first thing is we need to understand that the project is something is a temporary duration effort you put in order to achieve that particular goal. So now there could be many random ideas which people give for that temporary effort. You don't put it like that. You want to make sure it produce the desired benefit. Now, in a given organization, some projects you do strategic projects. So say you want to take care of your product line, you want to create a new building, you have to start a new department in your organization. So organization management has a strategy, they have a business case around it. And because of that business case, they authorize the project, we call it project charter, and then project gets started. That's a one possibility. Another possibility, the service organization may do the project when client gives them order. So it's like we are a house making company. If someone wants to build their house, they give us a call and we give them a proposals and all, and finally we have a deal. Once we get the deal, we start the project of building the house. Yeah. So there could be a project which are given by the client as a contract, and we have a clarity that this house has to be built in these constraints, which is coming as a contract. We initiate a project. Or there could be that my company itself wants to do something different than what they were doing before. Then also we initiate the project.
So, as a workflow, Saket, it will be project chatter that we propose to
So
the. We will.
before that, you either have to have a business case or you need to have a contract. Once the project charter is approval and authorization of the project. Yeah, but project manager roles usually starts when the project get authorized. Before that, they might be doing business analysis or sales work.
Okay, got it. So the project manager will start with like what I answer. We'll start with the scope of work, like what will be our scope of work, like we used to do. We used to get the scope of work, and then we used to work with them, like what are the key milestones and the timelines,
Perfect.
stakeholder, risk, and the budget.
Yeah. Now here, in the different words, you may have a different way of project execution also. So there could be agile-based project execution where the scope of work is not necessarily to be that well defined. There could be a predictive lifecycle execution where scope of work is well defined.
Okay, got it. This I got. Because I used to answer, okay, I'll send the scope of documents, and that is how I used to answer. But now I understood what I need to answer. So I'll just place it, I'll tell you the answer if you can correct me where I'm going wrong. Okay, in case initiation of a project, we need to evaluate the various aspects of the project and create a business value for the project, and then we'll create the project charter and put it to the sponsors or the project owners, and take an approval and authorizations. Once that is done, we'll work on the scope of work, which would be the permanent, like whatever goals and milestones we are going to deliver in a timeline. And that after that, we'll work on the risk and stakeholders and uh, dependencies and everything, right?
Yeah. So yeah, there are things. So first thing is better to answer these kind of question that in our organization, these are the type of projects we used to do because people, especially for an interview, it is not a PMP exam where they ask what is project, how do you start it? Yeah, it is not the case. Interviewer might want to know what is your project and how you used to start the project. Yeah.
Hmm.
So they are not just asking you that how probably company X does it. They want to know how you do it because things will be plus minus. It's not a universal flow. So you need to always answer that we used to do these kind of projects. This is how our project used to get initiated. These are the stakeholder who used to bring the detail to business case to us. And this is the step where I get involved. And once I get involved, this is how I take it forward.
Okay, got it. The second one would be, what are the most important competencies and key skills which is used as a project manager?
So these kind of questions usually are also double edged because the whatever you say, the subsequent interview conversation will also hang around that. Yeah. So what is the objective of such kind of question is that person wants to know how well you understand the role of a project manager. And based on your answer, the person will get a feel that, okay, do you really understand the job? And then they will say, okay, how capable are you in these areas? So we do have a various frameworks to assist you. Like in case of PMP, we have a defined characteristics which are expected from a project manager. And we usually divide the project management skills into three category: the ability to understand business, ability to take care of processes, and ability to take care of people and engagement. Yeah. So then you can further divide the businesses that you should understand the business case, you should understand the business value, then you should understand how to deliver a value in a given situation. That's a business domain thing. So understanding the overall business context, environment, competition, stakeholders, business language, start from there. Then comes the process. Process is how do you execute the project? So how do you work with the PMO? Do you know tools? Do you know if you are following Agile? How well you know Agile? How well you know the overall execution framework? Yeah, that's a process skills. Process skill depends upon what kind of method process you have been using, what kind of project management tools you have been using, maybe Jira or maybe MS Project, whatever. So those kind of tools are usually process. So you should be demonstrating I'm good in process. Now, process is all about managing scope, managing cost, managing requirements, delivering value, managing risk, managing quality, managing procurement, vendor. All these goes into process. Yeah. So this all is like there could be a 5, 10 sub skills in the process, which one should have. Then it goes to people. People is that people are two-dimensional people. One is your project team, another is the stakeholders. So you need to talk about the skills related to inspiring, motivating, building team, guiding individuals, doing one-on-one session, building trust, team level skills, conflict management, then stakeholder level skills, building trust, engaging and taking care of those needs and expectation. So those kind of things you need to bring it. I prefer, I recommend, especially on, hearing your these things, if you go through the PMP kind of a program, which is not just meant for exam, yeah, like especially our kind of program, then you get this whole insight pretty well, yeah.
Yeah, I think. Also, the second question that they asked was, if you're not from a development background and you're working as a Scrum Master, some of the developers may tell you, okay, this is I'm having packaging issue. That's why I'm getting late, and this is the issue. How do you get to know that they are saying the truth, or how do you help them out?
So it's a little tricky thing, because say you will say I am an expert in developer. Then what if your business analyst is telling you this is not possible, and how do you validate that? Or if you are good in a business analysis, how do you ensure the tester is telling you the truth? Yeah.
Hmm.
So in general, as a leadership, our goal is creating a collaborative work environment where people review each other work, and there is a complete transparency and trust is built. So you know, if someone is playing, then trust will get broken, and then we don't want to work with those kind of people. We will fix them. Yeah. So either we fix them or we just find some better alternative. So in general, in today's management, we don't want to micromanage people. We don't want to have a better understanding than our developers and make sure that they don't cheat us. Rather, we don't work with the people who want to cheat us. Yeah, that's the usual thing nowadays. So probably, but again, it depends upon company culture. Sometimes people ask you these things. So you probably say that I remain uninvolved. I really understand what I'm doing, even if I am not may not have a technical background, but I'm a part of team discussion. I ensure things are transparent. I build trust. I ensure that people know the value of trust in their conversation, and with the help of a trust and transparency and continuous feedback of what they have produced, we ensure that these kind of incidents are not happening in the team, because everybody will lose if these things are happening.
Okay. Got it. What I had answered is, with due experience, we get to know how much time it takes and such kind of commits, if they that can be done, and how much time it takes. And in case it's a new team which I'm assigned, I will go through the features, and if similar features were handled, and if they know how much time it took for them to do it, and how they were able to complete it, and how much time. So accordingly, I will have a discussion with the team and try to have the commits.
You can do that. The only thing is, here you are trying to be an expert, and what if you are not? So somebody like, so depends. If you feel that I'm the expert in the technology which these people are working and I really can do that, then it is little sense of that you work as a little detailed micromanagement place where you want to see what is happening and what is right and wrong. But in general, nowadays the management style is you ensure that any new thing comes, you are involved, but you ensure feedback loops are taken care and people review each other's work. Yeah. So maybe you don't have that skill to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. And the second one would be, what all metrics should we provide to the management to forecast the next year budget, or next year projects?
So again, you need to bring what do you do right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if people are talking about next year, so actually this is a portfolio topic. So like if you are doing internal projects, then there is a possibility people will say that your forecast will help them to plan for next year. If you are doing external contract, then project manager usually not involved to doing next year forecasting. It's a something capacity and portfolio topic where they need to find out how many people and what kind of skills they need for the upcoming years. So if I really do this job, then only I answer it. Else I clarify that I am not involved in next year planning for my organization. I just do project management.
Yeah, it's a like as a Scrum Master, your project manager asks, okay, give me the your team capacity and team forecast for next year.
So team capacity, how do you forecast without having a roadmap or work visibility? Yeah. So if you do in your organization, then you do. Yeah. Do answer this question. But if you don't do this in your organization, then don't do answer that question. Yeah. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Okay,
So
okay.
if you have been doing that, then you say we do it like this. If you don't do it, you can say in our case, this thing is taken care at a second level, not at my level.
Okay, and other question was like the product owner doesn't want to use Fibonacci series. They are good with linear series. How do you explain him that we should use Fibonacci series rather than linear series? I'll tell you the answer that I gave them. I told them that linear series, the difference between the linear series with each number, when I try to categorize the stories as small, medium, and large, there is a difference of only 1 hour, or if I'm doing a time based or capacity, one difference is one, like 5 and 6 has one, 8 and 9 has one. So it becomes like scope management is difficult. In case of Fibonacci, the difference is more like 5 and 8, right? So difference is 3. So that 3 hours we can use for other, when we are making a story as 5 and 8, somebody is pointing it as 8, the we can always cross question why, because there is a gap of 3 hours or 3 days or whatever it is, like the way we do it. So that is how I had answered, but then he was not, the interviewer was not convinced with this answer.
So first thing is that I need to be very flexible about these kind of things. It's not like we must do in a particular way. If they have a different estimation technique, I want to learn about it. Yeah, that's the simple thing. Uh, uh, why agile way of working recommends this way of working? Because they believe you are doing story point estimation with the error. We are not expecting story point estimation to be very accurate. Yeah. Now, how do we make this error less? Yeah, because anyway it's a error prone. So as the work becomes difficult to understand and more variabilities are expected to be there. If the work is small, we have a fine grained judgment about it. So if the work becomes bigger, then it is difficult to predict how big it is. So again, I made a 4 videos on agile estimation. It's a little bit big topic where I talk about what is estimation, what is planning poker, how do you play a planning poker, and how estimation should not relate or may relate with the efforts, and why should you use a linear, non-linear series over a linear series. So I made 4 videos. I recommend checking that. But in the interview, I better connect it with the experience, what benefit we got. And usually, in a simplistic manner, we are saying that we got it because we have taken care of variability and uncertainty. When we know something is big, we better say it is big, little high level, not 5 to 6, 5 to 8. So maybe it will be 6, maybe it will be 7, but maybe something could be 9, maybe something could be 10. So overall, it will be taking care of it. If we have 5 8 pointers, maybe actually some of the 8 pointers are more near to 5, and some of the 8 pointers could be near to 13. But overall, in general, my sizing will be okay if I see at an aggregated level. Yeah, so that's the whole idea. But yeah, I recommend checking those 4 videos as well. But yeah, that's the high level idea.
How do you manage an extra scope in between sprint when it is a part of the contract and you do not have a chance to go ahead and negotiate with the product owner or business analyst, saying that we cannot accommodate it?
So bring an example if you have done something like that, or create that it is very difficult to predict, but in a given situation, I might try these ideas. Yeah. So you randomly or just saying this is the right way to do will be difficult, because there could be many situations. Now some situations are there where you can negotiate and say we will not do it this iteration, we will do next sprint. In some cases you do it. So the whole idea is collaboration. Why should not you do it? And why should you do it? That part should be clear to the people who are in the conversation. So when I'm talking to my stakeholder, they should be clear that if we disturb our sprint goal in between, it will produce a little bit of waste, because we already planned, everybody was available that point in time. Is it really worth disturbing the planned items which are maybe 50% finish and not finishing them, and starting something which may anyway not get finished in the remaining 1 week? Can't it be wait, like can't we wait for a week and then we do it? So I need to have that conversation, because it just produces a waste. It is nothing good and bad. But there could be some situation where even if by wasting the work you have done in the current sprint, still it makes a business value to deliver something to the end customer, then you definitely take that particular pain and serve your customer. So but again, this thing is too much dependent on what is a contract, what is the people in place. If you are working as a service organization, if you are working in a time and material project, then the game is different. If you have a different kind of project contract, then the process could be different. So you probably need to explain that we work in a time and material space where product owner is the final call. Whenever such kind of things comes, we communicate that it will bring uncertainty. Our predictability of this sprint goal, this sprint velocity will go down. And if my product owner and stakeholders are willing to take that risk, we go ahead with that. If they are not willing to take that risk, then we usually negotiate it for the next iteration. But ultimately, it's the product owner's call. I am here to do what makes best for the organization. Yeah, that could be a one situation. Yeah. So we need to see the overall context. It is difficult to just answer just by hearing this much from the interviewer. So if you have to answer it, you need to bring your own context. If interviewer is not giving you the details, you can say, I usually do this way in these kind of project, and that way in that kind of project. Then only you probably can handle this query.
Okay, my answer to this question was I will first see what kind of scope change or work they are going to put across. I'll check for the dependency task. I will also check on what time it is coming. If it is the beginning of the sprint or in between the sprint, how much time do I have left to complete the sprint, and how much dependencies I have. If the dependency tasks can also be completed in the same sprint, because if I'll be able to deliver something with this particular if I work on the work that has come, and accordingly I will jot down the tasks and everything, and I will put it across with the risk and everything, and then I will, if it can be done and with there is no dependency and it is a very small piece of work which can be accommodated in this sprint, I will try to accommodate in this sprint. In case it is not, I will put it to the next sprint after discussing with the team, or to the next like with the dependency tasks and all, and then set the timelines.
So see, the problem here is it makes you do things which manager may not be doing in the agile environment. So first thing is that user stories are definitely negotiable. The team and product owner can definitely negotiate the work which they want to change without impacting the sprint goal. So that is anyway open. Yeah. Now, your role, be it a scrum master, be it a project manager, is not about that you doing estimation, you doing impact analysis, you are assigning task, and you are negotiating to the next iteration. Yeah, in general, what your task is, you are enabling these conversations. Yeah. So you are enabling that if we can do something without impacting the sprint goal, then it's a negotiable. Development team and product owner will talk and they will do it. But if they are impacting, then I educate the product owner that it is not a good idea because it will reduce the predictability of the iteration. Yeah. So the whole thing is, I am not the guy who can do impact analysis. I am not the person who can identify dependency myself. I need to work with experts who can do it.
Okay, got it. And then how to manage a team when there is less user story point available for a sprint cycle, and to give a business value.
So, okay, bring an example. Yeah, so what happened, how you ensured in these kind of cases? So there could be a case where you work with the product owner to make sure that the backlog is ready for the upcoming iteration. So you have less and less such situation where sprint is starting and you don't have a work. Yeah. Another could be that you work collaboratively with the business to find out now we have a capacity available, what else we can do. The third is that you work with the team to find out what improvement they can do. First, we start with that there is a always we work with the business people to make sure that they have a readiness for upcoming iteration. So I proactively work with the product owner to educate them that they should have a ready work for the upcoming sprint. So that's such kind of cases where you go to a sprint and you don't have a ready work reduces. That's a one thing you can do. Second thing, possibly you can do if the situation has not arisen, yeah, and you are in a situation where you have less work, then you work with the product owner to find out what else we can contribute, yeah, because current sprint goals are anyway getting met. So if you have made a sprint goal of A and you can do B, C, D as well from a Scrum perspective, no problem, yeah, because your sprint goals are anyway getting met. So when you see that your sprint goals are getting met and still you can pick up more work, why not? Yeah, you ensure the product owner can now get some work. Yeah, that's a possibility. The third possibility is sometime because of whatever reason business work is not coming, then we saw that see how we can improve our technical work, our infrastructure, our code base, so that we are ready, our team is ready for the upcoming iteration. So we can figure out some improvements if we can do some code cleaning, some infrastructure, some innovation work, so that we become better for the upcoming iterations. Better to bring these ideas with some examples, and say that, in a one of the iteration we end up doing like this, in one of the iteration we are doing like this, but it is now a rare event because we have been working with the product owner proactively to make sure that we have a ready work for upcoming iterations or sprints. Yeah.
Okay, that answers my questions. I think one more is why would you measure sprint velocity? What will you track in sprint burn down? This is I have yeah. Why do we measure sprint velocity when we already track sprint burn down? And what will you track in sprint burn down? That I know how much sprint we have completed and how much we have committed, but why do we do it now?
Yeah. So bring back your current organization example. First thing is that you need to have in your story that do you track the velocity? Do you measure velocity? And if yes, maybe I as an interviewer will ask, what tell me the three velocity of the last three sprints. Yeah. So and how they have been changing over a past 6 months. So I can ask those kind of questions. So first I need to be clear that do I measure it? If I measure it, what is the process and what is the trend? Yeah. Now, second thing is why do we measure it? The simple utility of velocity is projecting your upcoming duration work. So it helps my organization in preparing the roadmap. It helps my organization in doing release planning. Now, when you were saying that how do we plan a next year work for a team? If I don't have a velocity, if I don't have a roadmap in mind, then I can definitely cannot plan a next year work for anyone. Yeah. So when the organization wants to do long term planning, they need to have their product and roadmap in mind, which is their work. Yeah. But they also need to have some understanding of how much work this team possibly can do in a given time boxes, which can help them in doing release planning or roadmap planning. So velocity beyond help us in planning things beyond current sprint, and it help us in doing release and roadmap forecasts.
And then like as I told you how we work, like we get a demand and we use we create this user story with the product owner and we put it to sprint planning. Now this I was asked why can't we use Kanban in this method.
The whole thing is we need to be clear what is the meaning of Kanban way of working. So many a time people think Kanban means just production way of working, but the essence of Kanban as an agile project manager, I should be able to explain that it is about visualization, it is about limiting work in progress, it is about managing the flow. So while we work in a Scrum, we definitely apply all these ideas. We visualize, we have a Kanban board, we don't take too much work, so we are applying that idea. Yeah, that's obvious. We are applying that idea as well when we work in a Scrum. Now, the another possible question is that why do you work in Scrum? Yeah, we can definitely work in Kanban way of working with Scrum also, without Scrum also. But the question I need to answer, why do we work in Scrum? So Scrum way of working is a time box way of working. And if you don't want to work in a time boxed manner, you can work in other way, but other way is your way. That is not a defined way, your way. And you can visualize your way using Kanban board. Yeah. So it is not a Kanban way of working, it is your way of working, facilitated by visualization, limiting work in progress, and delivering value. So usually these questions need to be answered that we have a uncertainty. We want to run an exploration cycle. We are working in a complex problems and we do want to give my team member uninterrupted time so that they can innovate, explore, and produce something meaningful. And that is the reason we are working in a time boxed manner. And Scrum help us in working in a time boxed manner. Yeah. So if you don't have a need of exploration, if you don't have a need of focus, if you don't have a stakeholder coming at the end and reviewing it, then you can stop working in that manner and you can start working in a flow manner. Yeah, flow manner could be that you just visualize your work. As soon as one item get finished, you deliver it. You don't necessarily give a demo at the end of a month. Yeah. So that way we need to handle this. And you can say, we are working in a complex work. Yeah, we do have a time boxed goals. So Scrum help us in achieving that.
Okay, got it. How do you work with stakeholders who have less, like they don't want to work in agile management, means less knowledge of agile management work, and how do you help them adopt agile?
So there are multiple possible aspects. You probably need to. Now, this question could be driven by agile transformation, or it could be just driven by that there are stakeholders who are confused how you are working in agile. Yeah. So
Hmm.
first we need to differentiate that. In general, it also depends upon what you observe from the interviewer's mind, because there are some interviewer who want you to work in agile in any case, because that's their mindset. Other might be focusing on that you should work in a way which helps the organization grow. Doesn't matter it's agile, it doesn't matter it's hybrid, doesn't matter it's waterfall. You should focus the context. If the work is complex, you follow Scrum. If work is not complex, you don't follow Scrum. Yeah. So maybe you need to talk about the overall characteristics. So if I have to talk to the stakeholder first, I should know why should I'm using it. Yeah. So if I have a context where things are emerging, then I will possibly follow a emerging way of working. But if I have a context where my contract is fixed price, my deliverables are already signed off, my milestones are already made, my payment terms are already fixed, then probably I will have a process which is more predictive side. Maybe I can have some amount of agility, but it depends. Yeah. So that's how we should put it rather than just focusing on. Now, it depends upon also who is asking you the question. If you are going for an agile coach kind of interview, then this may not work well. This kind of approach may not work well. Then we talk about the case studies, we sell the idea, we talk about how the work is becoming so dynamic, and we are working in a very changing environment manner. So I show them how the agile increases the possibility of success in the dynamic environment. So if I'm going for an agile coach interview, I will probably talk about case studies. I will probably talk about the nature of the work which is happening. But if I'm going for a project manager interview, then I need to talk about the nature of a given project and how in a given project we were able to do good with agile, and how in some other project we may not use agile. Yeah.
Okay, I had these many questions only for now.
Great. Thank you. Yeah, I think this is good. Anything else before we conclude?
No, I would need help from your side on giving me some questions to prepare and give you the answers to prepare for the interviews.
So my recommendation is that first you probably want to finalize, you want to target what kind of organizations. Are you targeting agile organization or you are targeting hybrid organizations? Yeah. If you are targeting hybrid, then preparation is more needed. If you are targeting pure agile organization, then preparation might be little less. Yeah. So once that goal becomes clear, then I need to have a full story in my mind, yeah, about how the work gets done in a given context, with a clear example, with a clear understanding of who are my team member, what is their name, what they do, what is their education, what is their skill. Yeah, even that level, who are the stakeholder, I can make a list of my stakeholder in the project. So you should be very clear that, okay, I have a clarity in mind, these were people who were working, this is how we have done it. Now, once you get rid of a theory thing, theory is usually get asked in the interviews where they are hiring for a middle manager level. But as you start going to a next level, theory questions will reduce and experiential question will start increasing. Like the one you asked, what do you think is the competency of a project manager? Those questions are more exploratory and difficult to handle. Yeah, but they are good. Yeah. So such kind of questions, like if I have to ask a project manager, okay, what do you prepare in the weekly status report? How frequently you do a stakeholder engagement? How do you engage your stakeholder? Now, not it's like how stakeholders should be engaged. How do you engage your stakeholders? Can you give me a little categorization of type of stakeholders you are working with? Who all stakeholders are happy and why? uh, how do you take care of difficult, so there could be many things which can come around the stakeholder only, but mainly focusing on what you do. Then we can also talk about, tell me about the business value of your product, what benefit your deliverable has produced for the company. Yeah, has they made more money because of your project, has they lost money because of their project, what is your ROI? So I can ask those business domain question to understand how possibly a project manager understand the area in which they are working, who is your competitor, who is possibly producing better alternative than you, yeah, whatever work you are doing. So having an understanding of the competitors and their skills and their technology make the interviewer understand that this guy understand the business environment. That way, the process part could be, tell me 5 risks which you have handled recently, not what is risk. Yeah, tell me the risk list, yeah, what all they have and what you did about them. So I need to be clear, okay, what were the 5 risks? Tell me the current trend of your velocity and what you are doing about it, maybe. Yeah, so that could be the thing, rather than what is velocity, how do you use it. Tell me the trend of your velocity and how possibly you can improve and what is the learning from it. In agile world, people may ask, share me 3 4 retrospective actions which you got from a recent thing, and or share me a story where you identified something in a retrospective and it has produced a significant benefit for you. So what I'm trying to make the generic theme is that for all areas, first I get the theory right. And once I have a theory right, then I get a story right. Yeah, I think that's how we can put it. So once the story theory is done, then I make a story about the project and say, okay, I understand what is risk. Now I need to have a clear story about the risk. I understand what is metrics. I need to have a clear story about the metrics. I understand that these are the 5 metrics I should be talking in my interviews as a metrics we use. Now, what is the data for last 3 months, 6 months about these 5 metrics? Do I have a story in my mind? So that's how one should prepare, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, got it. What I'll do, Saket, is whatever points you have given me, I'll work on it and I will try to create the story from my end on like
Great.
whatever I have done. Like you said, 5 risks, I will put my 5 risks that I have, because sometimes I have work, we do work on it, but when the interviewer asks, you are always not able to recall all the five things
Yeah,
that
yeah,
you
yeah,
have gone through, those
yeah, yeah,
stories,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I will work on it. Oh, I do have one more question, for you. Like you said, that scenario based questions, like if at all only for Scrum Master, then you say it will be mostly theoretical, right?
Actually depends upon interviewer. So for a scrum master, the story could be story of your recent retrospective, story about your daily stand up, story about how do you take care of people not attending the daily stand up, story of how do you take care of people working from home and people working from office, story about how do you take care of Jira, how what kind of matrices you prepare. So in each role the story plays a role.
So I think I have almost everything that I wanted to understand from interview prospectors and the
Perfect.
questions that we asked.
Great, thank
Uh,
you, we'll see.
yeah, thanks,
Thank
thanks,
you,
Saket.
bye
Thanks a
bye.
lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you, bye.